Alright, well, this should be something completely different, since we haven't worked here before, so let's see what happens. Seeing as it didn't seem I was going to have much time to relax, I pulled on my work shirt and apron and headed next door to the Crafty Crown. It was a goofy name, and I was a little afraid of what I would find inside. I gathered my guts and pushed open the polished oak door. The color scheme left a lot to be desired, but the light was warm, and the tables and booths gave it a friendly kind of atmosphere. A bar ran around the back wall, and there was a woman behind it fiddling with some bottles and preparing drinks. Not just any woman. A blonde whose low-cut top looked a whole lot better on her than my work uniform did on me. She saw me standing in the doorway and beckoned me forward, a bright smile on her face.
You must be the new blood. I'm Ashley.
I'm Flynn. Nice to meet you. I guess we'll be working together.
He looks great in that. Just saying. I was really hoping we'd see the uniform, which we should have, because Malia had a uniform. But he looks really good in it.
So we will. You're from America, right? I've heard you're not 21 yet. Not old enough to serve drinks in your country. Don't worry, I'll show you the ropes. In any case, there's no way you'll be worse than...
I mean, she ain't wrong.
The front door closed and Ashley fell silent. Another man had just entered wearing the same uniform that I was, though he wore it better.
I'd beg to differ, Flynn.
What? Who is this guy? What are you doing here? Caught off guard by both his graphic questions and his American accent, I stammered in reply. I'm Flynn. I'm new here. Nice to meet you. I guess we're comrades, compatriots, or something. Just don't get in my way.
Wow, Brendan is way more aggro. Makes sense. Alright. I can't wait till we talk to Aussie for the first time. So it's gonna be, looks like so far it's gonna be Danny, then Ashley, and then Brendan. Brendan's third. Barf.
I want to get in, do the work, and get out. I have no interest in this job or in being American buddies, so don't make my life more difficult than it already is. You won't like what happens if you do. He turned the corner and headed into a back room.
So, that was Brendan. Don't mind him, he's not that bad a guy.
She gazed after him with a worried look on her face, and I balked. Not that bad a guy? Really?
Huh. We just broke up, so...
Oh, I'm sorry. But that meant she was single, right?
Yeah!
Don't worry about it. It's over now. Anyways, let me show you how we do things here.
She took me into the kitchen in the back, showing me the plates and the dish cleaner and where we were supposed to put the orders that we took and so on. In no time I was completely confused, not least because of all the different names for the foods. What's a gherkin?
It's yay long and green,
A pickle!
but pickle is brown and comes in jars.
Why do you call your french fries chips?
Because they're chipped off a potato. Why do you call them French? What did the French ever do for chips?
It's true.
She smiled and shook her head, which made her hair, and other things, sway entertainingly.
Flynn!
I'm gonna have to hand you off to Brendan now. No one's around to serve up the usuals their next drink.
She skipped to the front of the bar, and I hesitantly approached Brendan, who was bent over a plate of food. The hell do you want? You're supposed to teach me what to do next. Seriously? He glared at me. Then he glanced at the plate of food, a slab of meat with some type of sauce on it, and smiled. Right. How about you go and get a pint of beer from the front and meet me back here? What kind of beer? Just beer! Go! I ran to the front and grabbed the first dark glass of beer I saw, stopped to wave at Ashley. She waved back really cutely, then headed back inside. Nice, I think we're gonna get along well with Ashley. Brendan was standing with the plate in his hands, a sly smile on his face. Take this out to the table in the far back. Guy's a buddy of mine. And give me that. He took the beer from my hands and began to drink. It's gonna be hell working here with this guy. I don't think you're supposed to do that while you're working. Are you telling me how to do my job? No, of course not. Good. Now, skedaddle! I took the plate out to the back table where a man with a thick mustache was waiting.
Finally! It's been an age.
Compliments of Brendan. He says hi. The man gave me a weird look, then took the food. I started to head back into the kitchen when...
Ah!
I jumped. The man at the table had screamed, and now he was glaring at me.
What is this shit?
What? I just delivered the food. What?
What's wrong, sir?
There are peppers in this sauce. I specifically requested no peppers. I said that I'm allergic to peppers. This is covered in tiny bits of pepper.
Ashley turned pale.
I am so sorry, sir. I'll call 999 right away.
Don't bother. It's not that kind of allergy.
In other words, he isn't allergic at all. He just doesn't like pepper.
Someone deliberately put extra pepper into this dish. Who did you say did this? Brendan? I'm going to talk to your manager. I'll make sure I get that kid fired if it's the last thing I ever do.
He sneered at me, then marched out of the room. The remaining customers stared at us in the ensuing silence. Then... What the hell did he just say? Brendan came out of the back of the kitchen. You told him I did that? Well, I thought you said... You little shit. You're dead. No. If I lose my job, you will wish you were dead. I will make sure that the time you spend here will be absolute hell. Do you hear me? This won't be the end of things. Brendan dashed out of the room, presumably to catch the man, or talk to our boss. Ashley laid her hand on my shoulder.
Hey, are you okay?
I felt weak on my feet, but tried to act as though nothing was wrong. Of course I am.
Tough first day, right?
Ashley laughed quietly. I didn't join in.
Anyways, let's just try and finish out this shift. We can worry about everything else later.
The rest of the shift went comparatively smoothly. Ashley helped me through my failures, and even though Brendan stayed gone for most of the shift, we weren't too hard-pressed for customers. After a few hours, Brendan came back. He said nothing, just went to the back kitchen and resumed work.
Okay, so we had a kerfluffle with Brendan instead of Aussie, and so we got on his shit list, like, real early. Okay. Interesting.
I assumed that meant that he wasn't fired. I didn't really have the guts to ask him. Finally, my shift was over and I headed back to the hostel. Which wasn't much of an escape, knowing that Brendan lived there too. I slumped into one of the couches in the hostel's common living room. There was no way I was going to survive here. It was impossible. I might as well get on the next flight home. How was I supposed to deal with constantly seeing someone who practically threatened to kill me? I hung my head. Usually I'd go to a coffee shop or something to chill, but that seemed distinctly unappealing after my workday. Then I heard someone sit down on the couch next to me and looked up.
Oh, also I just realized that we actually have to do Peggy before Ashley and Brendan, because we did meet Peggy first. Okay. So, Danny, Peggy, Ashley, Brendan, Aussie. Which means... we'll see who we run into first, Mark or Gio. Alright, Aussie, what you got for me as a guy this time?
A beautiful woman was sitting next to me, looking at me with a gentle smile. She was so close I could pick up the warm notes of her perfume. Her red dress clung to her curves like they were a lifeline.
Yeah, they do.
Hey there. Everything alright? I instantly sat back and tried to look more like I was in control. Yeah, totally. Who might you be? I'm Aussie. I'm a boarder here. And you are? Flynn. I'm new here. I know. Her smile broadened. I would have noticed if I'd seen you here before. Where are you from? Right here in London. I'm staying here because I am. She shrugged lightly, but didn't actually seem too happy. It was probably a sore topic. I'm from America. Really? I couldn't tell. She punched me playfully and I relaxed a little. Anyways, you look like you could use some fun. Are you a partier? I didn't really know how to answer. I might want to be a partier, but after a day like today... I'm actually still a bit jet-lagged and dead tired. Oh. She seemed disappointed. I couldn't help but feel like I had failed somehow in her eyes, like I was no longer as attractive. But I go partying every now and then, yeah. You know how things get in the Big Apple. Ever been? Her eyes lit up and I knew I'd hit the right note. You're from New York? That's brilliant! I wish I'd be able to see a place like that, all glamorous and focused. You must be an ambitious person. I hear everyone there is on the move. Big money, big buildings, the city that never sleeps. Well, you know, work hard, play hard, right? I felt a little bad for lying, but it wasn't technically lying, right?
Oh, Flynn, you've run into a gold digger and you're in trouble.
She was making me feel like I was someone cool, someone important. I wanted to keep up that image for her as long as possible. And that was the point of coming to a new country, wasn't it? To reinvent myself and try on a new character, to see if I liked a different side of life better than my own back home.
That's why I'm playing the guy now.
Maybe it wasn't such a bad thing to shade the truth a little after all. Well, you'll definitely have to come partying with me sometime. I'm sure you'll pull loads of girls. Why would I pull on women? It seemed like a stupid question, so I didn't ask. I'm going out for tonight, but I do hope I'll see you around sometime. She got up and stretched, and it was all I could do to control my wandering eyes. Have a good night, Flynn. She wiggled her fingers at me and, smiling, left the room. Okay. Maybe it wouldn't be as hard to stick around here as I thought.
Oh boy, we in trouble.
Well, I worked my first shift and made my first enemy. But regardless of what happened today, this was still my trip. It was up to me to make the most of it. Both good and bad. I could let people get to me like I usually did, or I could stand up on my own 2 feet and push through... somehow. It was all up to me. And what I wanted to do most right now was...
call Jin-Soo.
The time difference between London and New York was about 5 hours, so it would be afternoon back home. Nene probably wouldn't be home, but Jin-Soo might be. I only had a very small phone card for international calls. I'd have to buy more minutes later when I got paid, but at least I could say hello. It took a minute to figure out how to dial a US number from here, but eventually it rang. Flynn, is that you? Hey, how's England so far? Good and bad. Spotted any hot guys yet? I couldn't help laughing.
Man, we don't have a lot of options here. But does Danny count?
There's this guy at the hostel named Danny. Really nice. Bailed me out when I had a problem with the cab getting here. Go on. That's it. He helped me inside. I haven't seen him since. I think he's like that to everyone. He's just nice. Well, keep your eyes open. You never know. We chatted briefly about what I'd seen in London so far, and then he bid me a good night. I needed my rest. My semester was only just beginning.
Oh my! What a cute little chippy picture of him making drinks. Ah, I love it.
The walk back from the university was truly lovely. London was a big city, but just like NYC, there were green places here and there for everyone to enjoy. A full course load for British students would normally be 3 courses, or modules, in a semester. Because of the special working arrangements with the program I was signed up for, I was only taking 2. That way I could be sure to have enough study time to keep my grades up. If I fell behind, my student visa would be cancelled and I would be sent home. Not every course was valid for credit back in the US, since some were too specific to the British legal or financial structure, but most of the time education was education. In any case, I had 1 course in technology and 1 in literature. Someday soon I would need to get acquainted with the university library, but for now I needed to get on to work. After a hard day's work, finally it was dinner time. The hostel had a dining area where everybody could eat, next to the kitchen. People could order in or could gather together to eat a group meal. With that in mind, I crept into the kitchen, hoping to find something simple I could make. When I entered, I discovered Angelo, Peggy, and Ashley were sitting around the larger table, each taking something from a platter of vegetables and noodles.
Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be Mark and then GQ.
Another guy I hadn't met before was also there. That must be Mark, the one Danny said was cute.
I really hope you like it. I worked hard on it.
It's free food. I'll definitely like it. You'd make a good wife, Ashley.
You think so?
Ashley flushed as Angelo laughed heartily.
You belong in the Stone Age, Angelo.
What? It was a compliment. She's not mad about it.
That's beside the point.
And that set them both off, shouting insults back and forth. Mark, sitting nearby, watched with wide eyes. I tried to figure out a way to casually approach and join the group, but I wasn't sure what to do. It'd probably look bad if I just walked up and asked to eat some of their food, especially since I didn't help make it. Maybe it would be better to come back later and take a peek in the fridge. I started out of the kitchen, but before I could make it out the door, I locked eyes with Ashley.
Oh, Flynn! Are you hungry? I made stir-fry if you want some. I'm sure there's plenty for all of us.
Really? Are you okay with that?
Of course!
Despite Ashley's assurances, I glanced at the others. Peggy and Angelo were still at each other's throats, but Mark offered me a smile and gestured to the seat next to him. I sat down nervously. Thank you. It looks really good. Ashley got a plate for me and spooned food onto it, while Mark got me a glass of water.
Just can't comprehend that your way of life is totally...
Maybe if you calmed down a little, it wouldn't be so...
Don't mind them. They've been at it all day.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit rough, but I'm sure they both mean well.
It's interesting to see people with such dynamic opinions. And you guys aren't going to stop them?
I don't want to get involved. I don't like to fight with anyone.
I glanced at Mark, who shrugged. Everything ends one way or another. I mean, these kinds of things are interesting to discuss, but as long as it's not directly affecting me, it doesn't have any meaning. What? What did that mean? There was an odd tension in the air. A few seconds later, I realized Peggy had stopped arguing with Angelo and was instead staring at Mark.
How can you say that you don't care about anything that doesn't affect you personally? Does that mean if you saw someone in pain, you wouldn't do anything to help them because it wasn't you who was hurting?
Oh? No, that's not what I meant. I just meant that if how someone else is behaving isn't causing direct harm, or if it's just a theoretical concept that isn't harming anyone in practice that I can see, I won't bother with it.
But theoretical concepts can harm people.
I suppose.
Well,
Mark seemed to consider Peggy's point for a few moments, then shrugged.
I can't really be bothered.
ugh!
Peggy stood and grabbed her half-full plate.
I can't stand people like you.
She marched off in a huff. Angelo chuckled as he watched her go. Thanks for having my back, man. Angelo held out his hand for a high five. Mark looked at it with interest.
Your palm is quite nice, but I wasn't doing it for you. It does seem pointless, don't you think?
What?
I mean, everyone dies. Life is short. So I don't think you should argue so much. It's a waste of time.
Angelo grunted and went back to his food.
Well, Mark, since you're new here, how do you like it?
It is very nice. Everyone is very friendly.
Aw, that's sweet. Don't you think, Angelo?
Angelo grunted again. He didn't seem particularly interested in the conversation anymore.
Well, anyways, what brought you here, Mark?
Mark frowned.
Exploration.
Oh, that's nice. Are you at uni, or did your family send you here?
I don't think that's important enough to spend time talking about.
He tilted his head to the side and smiled.
I don't like people prying into my past, if you don't mind.
I set my fork down, surprised. Did Mark want everybody to hate him, or was he seriously just accidentally pissing everybody off? Ashley, her cheeks gone pale from nerves, anxiety, anger, nodded and picked up her plate.
I'm going to go clean up now. It was nice eating with you.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for your food and conversation. I hope we can do this again.
Ashley shot him a puzzled glance. Angelo stood and handed his plate to Ashley, then lumbered out of the room. With nobody else left, Mark turned to me.
So, what brings you here?
He seemed almost cheerful, as if completely unaware of what he'd just done. Did you not notice what just happened there?
What do you mean?
Oh, nothing.
Mark searched my eyes and started nodding.
I see.
What? What do you see?
This has happened before, you know. I do not like people who clearly keep things from me.
Wait, but I mean, you did kind of insult everybody earlier. You clearly didn't make them feel good. Mark paused and shook his head.
Sorry, but I think I should leave. Have a nice meal.
Then he, like everybody else, took his plate and left. Well, that was a great dinner, wasn't it? I finished my food alone.
Another cute picture.
I ran into Brendan in the hallway. I waved to him, trying to be friendly, but he only looked at me with disgust. So much for that, then.
You tried.
Someone was knocking on my door. Hey, Flynn. I'm just making the rounds to top up the loo roll. To do what? He handed me 2 rolls of toilet paper. Oh, thanks. There's usually some stored in the kitchen, but James won't stock too much in case someone nicks it. Try not to run out. Yeah, that would be awkward. He waved and headed on to the next door down. It was the first thing in the morning. I had barely woken up when I heard a soft knock on my door. I opened it and looked out to see Mark. Yes? What are you doing here?
Hello. So, I wanted to apologize.
Apologize? For what?
The other night at dinner. After reflecting a bit on what you said, I realized that you were correct. I insulted everybody at the table, including you, and was rude about it. I didn't see the error of my own ways. I am apologizing to everybody else as well, but I wanted to make sure you knew that I appreciated your words.
I wasn't sure how to respond. To tell the truth, I was shocked. It was such a direct, simple, straightforward apology. I rarely ever received a straightforward apology, even in situations that deserved it, like a huge fight among friends or family. Now a total stranger was apologizing to me for remarks most people would simply have forgotten about. Well, thank you.
It's no problem. But may I tell you something?
I blinked at him, and after a moment's hesitation, he continued.
I have been very confused. I don't think I can talk to people very well normally without them becoming angry. Since the other night, I've been noticing it in almost everybody I talk to.
It was worse than I thought.
It's been a bit of a problem because I think everyone's avoiding me now. People are not so sensitive in France as they are here.
I didn't see the joke. Was he French then? He didn't sound French to me. Maybe I was too used to parody French accents?
Well, I don't want to put on a charade and pretend to be something I'm not, or to respond less than honestly to them. But my genuine responses seem to arouse anger. It's a conundrum. What should I do about it?
How should I know?
How should I know? I responded gruffly, just wanting this conversation to end, but he hit his fist against his palm as if realizing something.
I guess you wouldn't. You seem to get on well with people without even trying. I'm a little jealous.
He didn't even notice I was being rude. Who was this man? How was this possible?
It seems I'll have to give this more thought. Anyways, thank you for your help. You are a very kind person. I know, or, well, I've realized that I'm probably not the easiest person to deal with. Thank you for dealing with me.
He beamed at me, and my heart felt oddly lighter.
You know, I'm usually by myself reading books in the library, up in the philosophy section. You should come visit me sometime.
He waved happily and skipped off down the hallway. Considering he was now aware that no one around here liked him, it was odd that he was so happy. Oh well, with that done, it was time to get on with my day. I had just finished eating when Peggy sprinted into the dining room. Upon seeing me, she lunged for my hands.
Flynn, I need your help.
Okay. With what?
Danny has team tryouts today, football tryouts, and I want to try, but I don't want to go alone. Scared I'll make an idiot of myself, do you know what I mean? I know you're into sport and we're part of some teams back in the States. Won't you go with me?
Joining his team would be a great way to impress Danny and spend more time with him. And possibly Peggy as well. Sure, why not?
Flynn, thank you so much. I knew I could count on you. We'd better get going then.
Wait, it's happening right now?
Of course, come on.
Peggy took me by the hand, jogging down the street into the nearby park, explaining as she went.
It's a university team, but not the university team, and we're allowed to go since we're technically part of the university, despite you not being from England, so it totally works out. Danny's the captain, as you'd expect from him, and the team is open to men and women, which is why we can both apply.
The day was pretty mild for January, but it was still chilly outside. Though I suppose if we were going to be playing soccer, we'd warm up fast enough. She rounded a corner into the park and a set of bleachers appeared, along with a ragtag group of people nearby. Danny stood before them, hands on his hips. Next, we'll have a basic skirmish so I can get a feel for how you work together. Everyone nodded and assumed positions, which must have been assigned sometime beforehand.
Danny!
Peggy waved enthusiastically and Danny looked at us in surprise. Hey, what are you two doing here?
What do you think? We're here to try out for the team.
A wry smile crossed his face.
Are you now? Yes, we are. What, don't think we can do it?
I didn't say that. If you're really up for it, you two can join the team on the right. Peggy, take over as goalkeeper. Flynn, you can be a forward. But...
Will do!
Peggy dashed away and I was left standing awkwardly in front of Danny, not sure what to do. Everything all right? I didn't exactly have much of a chance to get ready for this, and we just ran all the way here, and I was never on an official soccer team. I don't know what a forward does exactly. Well, just kick the ball around and give it what you got. No pressure. He clapped me on the back, smiling. If it wasn't for his friendly and open attitude, I would have thought he wanted me to fail. For laughs. So the skirmish happened. It was probably one of the most embarrassing things I'd ever done. I wasn't used to being bad at sports. I had always had a knack for them and took to them easily, from track to swimming to basketball. Or so I thought. But soccer was something different. I wasn't as coordinated with my feet as I thought. The one time I got the ball and shot it at the goal, I hit Peggy smack in the face. Then her nose started bleeding, and I volunteered to walk her to the bleachers and take care of her. Danny, doubled over with laughter, agreed. So Peggy and I didn't make the team. No sweat off my back. I didn't need another mandatory meeting every other day.
Well, maybe some other team will take us.
Maybe they'll take you. I think I've had enough of joining.
Oh.
Hey, it was fun to try out. I just don't want to take up too much of my time with sports this year. I'm already tired out from working.
Right. Well, next up, volleyball.
Volleyball? It made total sense for her hyper-personality, but not for her height.
You'd be surprised.